Rome's bloodiest day. The battle that shocked the empire. Picture this. 3 entire Roman legions, over 20,000 of Rome's finest warriors, vanish into the depths of a German forest. Not defeated in glorious battle, but butchered like animals in a trap that took 3 days to spring. When the news reached Rome, Emperor Augustus was found beating his head against the walls of his palace, screaming into the night.
Varus, give me back my legions!
Varus! Give me back my legions!
This is the story of September 9th, 9 AD, the day that changed the course of history, the day Rome learned that even eagles could be broken. Welcome to Chapters in History. I'm your host, and today we're diving into the Teutoburg Forest, where betrayal, brutality, and tactical genius collided in what would become known as the Varian disaster, Rome's bloodiest day. But to understand how Rome's mightiest legions could be so completely destroyed, we need to understand the world they were marching into and the brilliant mind that orchestrated their doom. Chapter 1. The Setup. Empire meets Resistance. The year is 9 AD, and Rome stands at the height of its power. Augustus Caesar has transformed the Republic into an empire, and Roman legions seem unstoppable. They've conquered Gaul, Egypt, and Spain. The Mediterranean is literally Mare Nostrum, our sea. But Germania is different. Beyond the Rhine River lies a world of endless forests, treacherous marshes, and fierce tribes who've never bowed to any master. For decades, Rome has been trying to push the frontier eastward to the Elbe River, creating a shorter, more defensible border. It's a logical military strategy, but logic doesn't always survive contact with reality. The Germans aren't the disorganized barbarians that Roman propaganda portrays. They're skilled warriors with their own complex societies, their own codes of honor, and their own burning desire for freedom. They've been watching Rome's expansion with growing alarm, knowing that their turn is coming. Into this volatile world steps a young German prince named Arminius. Born into the Cherusci tribe, he was taken to Rome as a hostage when he was just a boy, a common practice to ensure tribal loyalty. But instead of breaking him, Rome made him stronger. Arminius learned Latin, studied Roman military tactics, and served with distinction in the Roman army. He fought alongside the legions in the Pannonian Wars, proving his courage and tactical brilliance. Rome rewarded him with citizenship, equestrian rank, and command of Germanic auxiliary troops. To the Romans, he was the perfect success story, a barbarian transformed into a civilized ally. They saw in him the future of Germania, peaceful, prosperous, and thoroughly Roman. They couldn't have been more wrong. Meanwhile, Publius Quinctilius Varus commands the Roman forces in Germania. He's a career politician, not a soldier, the kind of man who looks good in a toga, but has never felt the spray of blood on his face. Augustus chose him precisely because Germania was supposed to be pacified, requiring administration rather than warfare. Varus sees himself as a civilizer, bringing Roman law, Roman taxes, and Roman order to the Germanic tribes. He holds court like a provincial governor, settles disputes according to Roman law, and collects tribute with the confidence of a man who believes the hard work is already done. But while Varus administers his peaceful province, Arminius is playing a far more dangerous game. He's been secretly traveling between Germanic tribes, speaking in their own languages, reminding them of their ancestral freedoms.
Remember the ways of your fathers, the liberty they fought for. This Roman yoke was not meant for you.
He's weaving together a coalition of tribes who have been enemies for generations. The Cherusci, the Marsi, the Chatti, and others. The Romans taught him strategy, tactics, and leadership. Now he's going to use every lesson against them. Chapter 2. The Trap. Betrayal in the Forest. September 9th, 9 AD. The summer campaigning season is over, and 3 legions, the 17th, 18, and 19, are marching from their summer camp to winter quarters. That's roughly 15,000 legionaries, plus 5,000 auxiliaries, camp followers, and baggage trains. They're not expecting trouble. Why would they? This is supposed to be Roman territory now. The legions marching to their doom represent some of Rome's finest military traditions. The 17 and 18 were veteran units with decades of service. The 19 was newer but had already proven itself in the Germanic campaigns. These aren't green recruits. They're professional soldiers who've conquered half the world. Arminius himself suggested this route through the Teutoburg Forest. He told Varus about a minor rebellion that needed Roman attention. Nothing serious, just a show of force to remind the locals who's in charge.
The forest path is the swiftest, my lord. We will save days.
Are you certain, Arminius? The terrain is treacherous.
The forest path would be quicker, he said. More direct. Why take the long way around when you can cut straight through? It's a masterpiece of psychological manipulation. Arminius knows that Romans pride themselves on efficiency, on taking the direct approach. He's counting on Varus's arrogance, his assumption that no Germanic force would dare attack 3 full legions. The Romans are marching in a column nearly 15 miles long, stretched thin through the narrow forest paths. It's raining, a cold, miserable Germanic downpour that turns the ground to mud and makes every step treacherous. The legionaries are grumbling, their heavy armor weighing them down, their shields becoming waterlogged burdens. But the forest is alive with watching eyes. Hidden behind ancient oaks, crouched in undergrowth, waiting on elevated positions, over 18,000 Germanic warriors, led by Arminius himself. They know these woods like the Romans know their own streets. Every tree, every stream, every ridge has been scouted, mapped, and turned into a weapon. The trap isn't just about numbers, it's about psychology and terrain. Arminius knows that Romans fight best in open ground, in formation, with room to maneuver their legendary discipline. But here, in this green hell, their greatest strengths become fatal weaknesses. Their heavy armor becomes a burden, their rigid formations become death traps, their discipline becomes paralysis. The Germanic warriors have been preparing for this moment for months. They've built hidden barriers, created false paths, and turned the forest itself into a maze designed to fragment and confuse the Roman column.
Then it begins.
Not with a battle cry or a heroic charge, but with a single arrow whistling through the rain, then another, then a dozen. Germanic warriors emerge from the forest like ghosts, striking fast and melting back into the trees before the Romans can respond. The Romans try to form up, but they can't. The column is too long, too spread out. Units are separated by miles of muddy track. Orders can't be passed. The officers can't see what's happening 50 yards away through the rain and trees. Panic spreads faster than wildfire. Chapter 3. The Slaughter. 3 days of hell. What follows isn't a battle in any conventional sense. It's a massacre stretched across 3 nightmare days. The Germans don't fight like Romans. They don't stand in neat lines trading blows according to military textbooks. They strike from the shadows, use every advantage the terrain offers, and disappear before the Romans can respond. Every tree could hide an enemy. Every stream crossing becomes a killing ground. Every ridge becomes a platform for death. On the first day, the Romans lose thousands, but still believe they can fight their way out. Varus pushes forward desperately, thinking he can reach open ground where Roman discipline will prevail. His officers try to maintain order, shouting commands that are lost in the rain and chaos. Individual acts of heroism shine briefly through the carnage. Roman centurions rally their men, forming defensive squares that hold for precious minutes before being overwhelmed. Veterans who fought in a dozen campaigns die trying to protect the standards, the sacred eagles that represent Roman honor and the soul of each legion. But heroism isn't enough. Not here. Not against this. The second day is worse. The column has broken into fragments, each isolated group fighting its own desperate battle for survival. Some units are trying to retreat, others are still pushing forward, and most are simply trying to survive the next 5 minutes. The Germanic warriors can smell blood in the water. They're not just fighting now, they're hunting. They pick off stragglers, surround isolated groups, and use their knowledge of the terrain to appear where they're least expected. Roman soldiers, the same men who conquered Gaul and Egypt, are reduced to stumbling through mud, their armor weighing them down, their formations shattered. The legendary Roman discipline that built an empire crumbles in the face of an enemy that refuses to fight by Roman rules. The standards, The sacred eagles that represent Roman honor are captured one by one. Each fallen eagle is like a dagger in the heart of Roman pride. These aren't just military symbols, they're religious objects, blessed by the gods, carriers of the legion's soul. By the third day, Varus knows the truth. This isn't a minor rebellion that got out of hand. This is the end of everything he's built in Germania, the end of 3 legions, the end of Roman expansion beyond the Rhine, the end of his career, the end of his life. Rather than face capture and the humiliation of being paraded through Germanic villages as a trophy, Varus draws his sword and falls upon it. His officers follow suit, choosing death over dishonor. The Roman command structure collapses entirely, leaving thousands of soldiers leaderless in a hostile forest. But the dying isn't over. The Germanic warriors have been saving their fury for this moment. They're not just fighting Romans, they're fighting for their freedom, their culture, their very existence. This is their chance to send a message that will echo through the ages. The survivors, and there are precious few, tell stories that will haunt Rome for generations. They speak of ritual sacrifices, of Roman officers nailed to trees and sacred groves, of eagles hung from altars like trophies. They describe Germanic priests conducting ceremonies over Roman corpses, consecrating the victory to their gods. The forest floor is carpeted with Roman dead, their armor, their weapons, their bones, all swallowed by the German woods. Archaeologists would later discover mass graves containing thousands of Roman artifacts, testament to the scale of the slaughter. Final chapter. The aftermath. Empire humbled. When the news reaches Rome, the city goes into mourning. Augustus, the man who conquered the world and brought peace to the empire, is broken. He stops shaving, stops cutting his hair, and is found repeatedly banging his head against walls, crying out,
Varus, give me back my legions.
But the legions are gone forever. The 17, 18, and 19 will never march again. Their numbers are struck from the Roman army forever, too cursed, too associated with disaster, to ever be born. The psychological impact is even worse than the military loss. Rome, the eternal city, the conqueror of nations, has been humbled by barbarians. The myth of Roman invincibility lies shattered in a German forest. For the first time in generations, Romans learn what it feels like to be afraid. The empire will recover, of course. New legions will be raised, new conquests will be made, but something fundamental has changed. Rome will never again attempt to conquer Germania beyond the Rhine. The battle that was supposed to be a minor police action became the permanent boundary of the Roman Empire. Arminius becomes a legend among the Germanic tribes. He's proven that Rome can be beaten, that their legions can bleed, that their eagles can fall. He's united the tribes in a way no one thought possible, and his victory will inspire Germanic resistance for generations to come. But perhaps the most haunting aspect of the Teutoburg Forest isn't the battle itself, it's what it represents. The collision of civilizations, the price of empire, and the dangerous game of trust and betrayal that defined the ancient world. In the end, Rome learned that conquest isn't just about military might, it's about understanding the people you're trying to conquer. And sometimes, the greatest enemy isn't the one you're fighting, but the one you think you've already defeated. The forests of Germania had claimed their price, and Rome would never forget.